I know today is a big day for you. 28 Wednesdays Later is out.
Yes, yes.
Congratulations. Please tell me all about the album.
So, it was a very interesting year for everybody. It was a huge change of pace for me being such a heavy touring artist. I went from having 75 shows last year to having 0 shows this year. So, it really, it kind of forced me to fall back in love with the music because there was really nothing else to do, And, I'm a firm believer in any rapper right now should be putting out a lot of music, because there's really no excuse to be doing otherwise. Nobody's doing shows. So I think it's go time. And as an independent artist, as a dude who's been on the grind forever, this kind of just put me back in that mode, that hungry mode, and I just, it was just go time, and
Absolutely.
it's been a taxing year mentally, but it's been a good year business wise. So, I just bought a house.
That's awesome. And I do want to talk about the house after the album, obviously, because I saw the picture and it looks super nice.
It's cool.
Yay. So on the album, you got a lot of great features on this bad boy. Pete Davidson is on there.
Yeah.
Millie's Greaves. So on your list of dream collaborations, who is still on there?
I mean, at this point, the people that I tend to work with is kind of who the universe provides to me. It's like I meet people or interact with people and we end up catching a vibe and making music. So it's like I almost don't even want to force anything. It's like I kind of just like allowing the universe to do its thing,
I like that.
I've put a lot more faith into that system as I've moved forward in this game. You kind of just go where you got to be decisive and make moves and be a master of industry on the one hand, but at the same time, like the universe does provide if you keep your karma right, keep your energy positive.
I couldn't agree more. So with that being said, how did the universe provide Pete Davidson to you? How did you guys meet?
So he is a fan of mine from way back. He's a good 6 years younger than me or so, and he grew up listening to me. So at one point, I believe he reached out to me on Instagram, and we just started going back and forth. We hung out a few times. I went to one of his movie shoots, and back in the beginning of the year, I had that song "Who Am I" that he's on, and he just came up from Staten Island to Connecticut, and we just did it in person here in my basement where I'm sitting right now.
Yes, that's super cool. And you kind of touched on it earlier, but you definitely are arguably one of the biggest independent hip hop artists in the whole country. You had, almost 500 million streams this year?
Yeah, I don't even know, but yeah, that sounds about accurate. Yeah, it's
billion with a B. That's special. So do you have any tips you can give to other independent artists who are trying to make it the way you did?
Definitely. I mean, first of all, have some backup options because like this is it's a brutal game. And you gotta be kind of made of steel to go the path that I went. It's very exhausting. It has taken a lot out of me, chunks out of my soul. It's really like it is, but the game keeps changing. You got to stay adapting to it. But I mean, really the advice that I would give is like, be unapologetically yourself first and foremost, because it took me a little while to really figure out who I am and become comfortable with who I am, and I think that happened in the spotlight. People watched me, kind of fully understand who it is that I am and embrace that. And once I embraced that and just was like, yo, you don't gotta front, you don't gotta flex, you don't gotta do all these things. I mean, just be yourself.
Right.
Hopefully
And when
who you are when you're being yourself is cool enough to do it in this shit. But I'm not a particularly like cool like person, but I am because I'm not, like
yeah.
because like that, because I embrace it,
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I think when you have that moment and realize that, it makes things easier just to be yourself. You don't have to try to be something else. And your fans obviously have embraced you for that too. So that's really great.
Yeah, and you really got to cater to your fans. As you start to build a fan base, I have people who've been down for at this point over a decade, and it's like you got to keep those people engaged. And, you know, you got to treat them good. You got to treat them good. And when it comes to touring, that's when you really have, I mean, obviously there's opportunities to connect with people online, but when you're out there really in the trenches with the people, like, you know, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick to people. That's a good life lesson in general.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. The house. Let's talk about it. The picture that you posted, it looks so cool. I love the architecture of the outside. What were you kind of looking for? What were your must-haves when you were looking at houses?
So something that we started doing this year is doing creative retreats where we would find a really cool Airbnb out in the woods, you know, bring some psychedelics, set up the studio, and just like assemble the creative squad and make a bunch of beats and hooks and just keep the energy going. So we did that a couple times this year, and it was incredible, the output of music that we got. And then I got to a point where it's like, how do I buy this vibe? You know? So that's exactly what I was looking for in a house. Where is the Airbnb in the woods in Connecticut where I would want to live all the time? And that's what this place is. Granted, there's a lot of work that's going to have to go into it. It's you know, it's a lot of house. It's going to be a lot of it's a lot of money. It's a lot of things. But this is my first time becoming a homeowner. It's very exciting. I got like 2 koi ponds and like out in the woods. It's like very very majestic and serene. And I just kind of want to be as disconnected. Everything's just getting so crazy, and being out in nature. I mean, you're up in Maine, so you know what that's all about. Your state is full of nature, but you know, down here it can get pretty congested. I'm an hour outside New York City, so it's like, how do I remain within this realm but still have that feeling like I'm off in the middle of the woods in Maine, you know?
Yes, and now that you mentioned the retreat, that makes so much sense seeing what it looks like, because it really does look like a serene retreat from the outside. And I bet that'll be extra special too when you do start touring again and go from city to city. You'll always have that to go back to, which is really awesome.
Absolutely. And if I end up stuck in the house for a whole nother year, because who knows where this is going, then at least I'll be there.
Absolutely. So this was your first time buying a house. Do you have any tips for other first-time home buyers?
Not really yet. I mean, like I'm learning as I'm going. I really don't know anything about the process. I have learned some things. I mean, right now it's definitely a seller's market, so there was a lot of competition. I had to, you know, a little overextend a bit to get this locked in. But you know, it's exciting. It's really exciting stuff. But the work doesn't end when you close. That's for sure.
Right. Yes. Keeps building, but it's yours, and that must be such a good feeling.
It is. It is. It's really exciting. It's really exciting. Yeah. It's. I mean, and then it just comes down to like life, like what's next. You know, like that's kind of like the checklist.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a
car, cool house. Like what else? You know, so.
Yes, that's a life.
I just got to figure out what I'm working towards next. You know what I mean? Or else, whatever. Happiness isn't defined by the things that you have.
Right. For sure. Absolutely. I know another thing that you happen to be big on is the environment and being green, which I love to see. So do you have any thoughts on how we can make Mother Nature a little bit happier? Because she's obviously angry with us right now. What are you doing to kind of stay green?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the biggest problems that we're facing are, you know, gigantic corporations who are just pillaging this planet, you know. Absolutely. And there really isn't that much that we can do about that, unfortunately. Like, we could try to boycott some of these companies, but at the end of the day, they're just too big to fail in so many cases. So it's like, what I think is just control what you can control, you know, and like recycle properly, learn how to recycle properly. I know so many people who think they're recycling, but they're doing it wrong. They're putting half full water bottles in the, you know, it's like putting plastic bags in the bin. You got to bring those to the grocery store, you know, little things like that. Like I went for a hike up in New Hampshire not too long ago when I was up at my guy's studio up there, and I took a little hike through the woods and there was just trash everywhere, like some kids threw a party. And I went back the next day with a trash bag and I put it all in the thing and threw it out because it just, you know, that is like therapeutic to me. You know, it just really angered me to see such a beautiful spot just trashed like that. So, I mean, any little thing you can do, don't litter, you know, like don't be a scumbag and litter.
Right.
I cannot stand, when I see people throw stuff out of their window,
Oh.
I want to run them off the road, you know, but,
Yes.
you know, just try to be a decent person. But at the end of the day, like, everybody's going to have their different causes in life. And I understand that not everyone's going to super care about the environment. And, you know, I think everyone should to a degree, but at least care about something that's bigger than yourself, you know? Because if you don't, then like, I feel like everyone's got to kind of pay their rent as a citizen of this planet. So what are you doing to pay yours? That's what I ask the world.
Right. I like that. That's very cool. And with the environment, it's like none of these other causes can be a thing if we don't have an earth. So I think that's a really big one. So I like that a lot. So you've been busy during quarantine, making music, buying a house. What else have you been doing to just keep moving? Watching every single show that's ever been made. What is your favorite?
Well, of all time, Sopranos, hands down, without question. I'm obsessed with the Sopranos. Like, beyond obsessed. I have a gigantic painting of Tony Soprano that's like as big as my wall. That's one of the main things that's got to get moved to the new house.
Yes.
But of this quarantine, I mean, when it comes to shows, top 3 of all time, and I would debate this with the best of them, is Sopranos, The Wire, and Breaking Bad. Okay. There's another tier of great shows as well, and I've seen, I would say, most of, if not all of them. But the best discoveries I've made in this quarantine were probably Fargo. I don't know if you've seen Fargo.
Yes, I have. It's so good.
Really good. Every season's like a completely different storyline. Really good. Vikings. Have you seen Vikings?
No, I'm intrigued though.
It's fire. If you're into Vikings and like sword battles and violence, yeah, it's awesome. Those are probably my 2 favorites that I've watched during this quarantine.
Awesome. Yeah. And looking ahead, light at the end of the tunnel, 2021, what are your goals and plans for next year? I have learned from this year to not have those. You know what I mean? It's like, let's just see where this goes. And the one thing I know is that as long as I keep putting out music, people will keep listening to it. And that symbiotic system is going to keep the gears grinding. And anything else, cool. You know, when I get the call that it's time to go back on the road, I'll go hit the gym. I'll hit hot yoga. I'll get in the sauna. You know, I'll start getting my body back in shape because I haven't done a physical activity aside from move boxes this past week all year. But you know, it's definitely, I'm not counting on touring. I'm not really counting on anything. I think the world's in a very unsure place at the moment, and you know, I think an artist in my position would be foolish to be counting on these things at this point. You know, let's just see where it goes, but have your backup plans ready and just keep grinding. You know? If we've learned anything from 2020, it's that literally anything can happen at any point in time, and you just got to be ready for that, like you said, at any point.
Yeah.
This year would have been your 8th main show. You like to come here every year and perform, which is so great, and we missed you this year. Outside of Maine, because I know that
I was up there. I went on vacation.
Oh,
I just
good.
didn't go, obviously. Yeah, I go up every year. Every year I was of my life since I was in my mother's stomach.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, I'm glad you still got to have your trip up here because that's very special. Outside of Maine, what is the first place you would like to perform when this is all over?
Well, there were a few tradition shows that ended this year, or at least were put on hold this year, Maine being one of them. Halloween in Minneapolis, I think that was about to be the 7th annual. 420 in Denver, I think, was also about to be the 8th annual, and Black Friday in Connecticut was going to be the 11th annual. So it was like those 4 shows, especially the Connecticut one, because that's like, you know, that was the first tradition show, you know, so that one really, we dropped a documentary about it on Black Friday, though, which was cool. But yeah, that one definitely stung a little bit, but you know, it is what it is. I went to Europe last year and toured Europe, and that was extremely mind expanding because that's the first time I had ever been to Europe in my life. You know, I'd never been. So that was like, you know, if your brain's like a Grand Theft Auto map, that opened up like a whole new part of the map. And I was just like, whoa, I had no idea any of this existed walking around Amsterdam and, you know, all these places in Germany, Finland, Norway. It was Switzerland. It was crazy. So, I mean, it's just my job it can be stressful at times, especially when you're behind the helm of running the business like I am, where I kind of take on more than your average rapper. But then you think about stuff like that and how I'm able to see all these amazing places and meet all these amazing people, and it's all worth it, you know.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It is.
I had no idea that you had so many tradition shows. That's so fun.
Yeah.
That's a really great idea.
I like tradition. I'm Italian, you know?
Yes. Well, last but certainly not least, what is Chris Webby doing for the holidays?
You know, I'm gonna just low key, like, see my parents, you know, just like go over to my girl's family spot. I got a homie down here. He's helping me move. So just chilling, you know, nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy.
It's been a low-key year. Hopefully we can have a high-key 2021 or 22 at least.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
we'll see.
But it's a good. If I was like 23 right now, I'd be going nuts. You know, back when I was in my party phase. Like, but at this point, I'm 32. I've gotten my party out of me, so I'm just kind of like whatever, just chilling. All right, fine.
Absolutely, we'll take it. Like you said before, we can't plan on anything, but we're here for it when it happens.
Yep.
Yes, amazing, Chris Webby. Well, it's great to see your face. Thank you so much for talking with me today. Excited for the new album and keep pumping it out. We love it.
Absolutely. I'll see you up in Maine next summer.
Yes, you better. Happy New Year to you.
Absolutely. You too.
Bye.